who weren't in the live earlier about what happened today when Dan McMeekin went to court in relation to the homicide of John George. So yesterday the news was that Michael Malley and Dan McMeekin had both been called before the judge, summons to the court, and they were told it was in relation to the homicide of John George. Now, I did hear most of what happened today through the phone in the courtroom. So it wasn't actually even a courtroom. It was like it kind of was like an IT room in some kind of like police station, because there was civil guard everywhere. And Dan McMeekin was in a room with Michael Malley's two solicitors. Michael Malley wasn't there. An interpreter, a woman speaking kind of broken English, and also a man I think, shouting in Spanish. They wanted him to confirm all of his confidential information, which obviously his name, address, phone number, etc., in front of Michael Malley's solicitors, which he had to do because there was no other way around it. Then he was informed that his full statement that he's given weeks beforehand to the civil guard had been given to Michael Malley and his defence team. But he was also told that he could not see a copy of Michael Malley's statement about what had happened. So Dan was asking them, why can he see my statement but I can't see his, when I'm a witness and he's a suspect, kind of thing. And there was just loads and loads of shouting in Spanish and them saying your solicitor will explain, your solicitor will explain. But obviously he doesn't have a solicitor because he only got paperwork yesterday and it's expensive, so he didn't have one. Then he was told, you have to sign the statement, which he wasn't allowed to read beforehand. So he said, well, can I read it first? So there was loads more shouting about that he couldn't. And then they took the statement off of the table and said he could no longer sign it, he wasn't allowed to sign it. In which case you could hear Dan McMeekin saying, please let me sign the statement. I promised the family I would tell what happened. Can I sign my statement? And they were like, no, you can't. And then he was told, we're going to get a civil guard in here to escort you out, you're not allowed to be here anymore. Where he was trying to say to them, you've got the solicitors in here of someone who is actually involved in the murder of John George. They've been given all of my paperwork, I'm in danger now because you've told them everything I've said, but you're not giving me the same back, Michael Malley stuff, and can you just explain to me why that is? And they were just no, he had no right to know that. And then he was escorted out of the civil guard, out of the office by the civil guard and out onto the street, where Dan McMeekin was shouting you're all corrupt, civil guard's corrupt, why can't you explain to me what's going on? There was two civil guard stationed at the door, almost like security. He tried to go back there several times and say to them, please, can you just explain to me, can you explain to me what's happened in there and why I can't sign my statement? And they were just you need to go away. Michael Malley's solicitors then came out, a woman and a man, and Dan McMeekin tried to ask them, your client is wanted for murder of John George, but yet you're allowed to see my statement, I can't see yours. And then they asked the civil guard to tell Dan McMeekin to leave them alone because it's harassment. So today's been an absolute mess. We really hope today, the family hoped today, everyone hoped today that today, and what we understood of the process was that Dan McMeekin and Michael Malley were going to get in front of a investigative judge who was going to ask them questions in relation to statements that had already been made. But there wasn't one question asked about John George. There was nothing asked at all about the crime, what had happened, what they knew, nothing. And then obviously this happened. So we don't know whether Dan McMeekin's statement will be disregarded because they wouldn't let him sign it, whether someone else has signed it. We just don't know what's happened.